have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Reality Rants. I am Jason Bermas, and we are doing it live. Big show today, as always. Second hour, not gonna want to miss it. I spent almost an hour with Simon Esler of Cut, Daughters of the West, and we're not just talking California, although I would say that the culture that he's discussing very much does permeate there. And really, we had a great discussion about culture and influence and how we've now had this society for so long that has focused on celebritard culture. Things that are 99% meaningless to us and our lives, period. Meaningless, but we make meaningful. It's the chatter around the water cooler they used to talk about. Did you see the latest Friends? Oh my goodness. And I succumb to it too. When there's a kick-ass series out there in entertainment, like a True Detective, it's the first thing I'm talking, especially when they're teasing it, right? Where it's once a week. And then you got the real talk, like that was a big thing for Game of Thrones and its predecessors like The Sopranos, etc. Week to week, you'd have something to talk about all week, right? Entertainment. And within this entertainment culture, obviously certain things are glamorized. And he makes a great point that he feels like women and their psyche and how they feel about their bodies have actually been under attack for a very, very, very long time. And again, Esler's done a ton of research on this. And you can get that film. I believe it's daughtersofthewestfilm.com, but you'll see the tag. You're going to watch the interview. It is Kick Arnis and Take Namus. It's a great interview. Again, and this is a guy that is kind of my own heart, because I remember back in the day when I was doing documentary films. Is now I'm a decade removed. I need to get back on the horse, on the saddle, and jockey one up. I know, guys, it's a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work. The satisfaction, though, of actually getting a project like that done, I can't really describe it unless you've done it. The feeling of achievement is great, but that's really, like, getting it done is just the start of the journey. And this is why I like this guy, because he's like, look, I don't want you to just buy it or rent it. I want you to have a screening of it. I want you to show this to other people. I want you to be able to have a discussion with everybody. This isn't something that's geared towards the left or the right. In fact, one of the things that we kind of focused on is that I believe that the alternative media, although absolutely should be shining on the darkness of the aspect of men in the space of women's sports, the truth of the matter is, and as is kind of revealed through this film of where you have these young girls at a small level. If you look at how much cosmetic surgery is done via the sexes, the genders, the real ones, male and female, it's 90+% women. Let me repeat that, 90+% women. And an increasing amount, especially from 2000 to 2023, of younger and younger girls going under the knife. It's crazy. Okay? When you're looking at the transgender stuff and the kids, you're looking at like a 4-to-1 for girls transitioning into boys, getting the top surgery. Okay? So unmissable. And you'll be able to find that for free over at the RVM stream. Okay? RVM, they had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, just to let everybody know. I know that if you were watching on the RVM stream for that second hour, at 1:18, it cut off. Okay? I apologize about that. We're trying to get all the kinks out. We need you to subscribe over at the Rumble on RVM, or go to rvmrumble.com. They did put it up towards the end of the hour. You got like the last 15 minutes. The whole thing, top to bottom, is available on their Rumble as well after the fact, and you can see it with the thumbnail that you saw in the intro. Again, getting the kinks out. We're trying to make this as easy as possible. But I got to tell you, the cleanup hitter, Wayne Dupree, bringing in the audience, I'm seeing big numbers on those streams, at least for this program, okay? And we need more and more people across the board to come across this program. You know, I'm seeing people on social media. I guess I'll give this Bermas guy a try in the beginning of the day. He doesn't call himself a conservative, but why not? Let's take a look. Yes, let's take a look. So, again, props to this guy. Props to independent journalists and filmmakers that are trying to bring people together, that are not just doing the topic of the day to be hot, but really causes for concern that are kind of underreported even in the alternative. So Essler in the second hour, a lot to talk about in the first hour. The Tuckins. Okay, this is the lead story, and this is something everybody's going to be talking about, but they're not going to be talking about it like Jason Bermas is talking about it, I promise. The Tuckins, about to launch his own show over at Twitter, okay? Now, here's the thing. It's a complex issue. First of all, Elon immediately came out and said, we have not cut a deal with the Tuckins. So the Muskernuts and the Tuckins, no deal. In fact, I would imagine because it's a non-compete clause that he can't do something like that. I would also imagine that the Tuckins is doing this on his own dime till at least January 2025. And if he may not even be able to monetize it. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Right now, there's a limited amount of monetization with subscriptions and things on Twitter. I have not seen the growth on Twitter I think that we should have if we had an open system. I'm going to show you what a closed system it was, and it was a closed system before COVID, okay? It was a Trojan horse civilian system, and in many ways it continues to be, okay? But I'd like you to posit this. First of all, the Tuckins videos are getting just like through the roof numbers, especially when compared to Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, and the likes combined. They can't do numbers like the Tuck when he puts out a video like this, but through algorithmic suppression at any time, that could change. And I do think that Fox and their legal team may send him a cease and desist, especially when we watch the video of him saying he's been doing a show for 6.5 years like this that he's about to do now. Okay? And before we get all excited about the Tuckins, okay, and again, there are good aspects to this. I'm not saying there aren't. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not trying to crap on everybody's parade, but let's take a look at some things, okay? FBI awards data miner contract for Twitter fire hose. This is in 2016. This is well before the COVID 1984 nightmare, period. All right? This is what Twitter was really set up for. Somewhere where the narrative, the great narrative, if you will, could be controlled by intelligence agencies in a lot of ways and get everybody hooked onto this new thing that was allowed to, I guess, first of all, it's an app that's going to get your short form all day. Okay. And this is an app that came out before Snapchat, and I would argue before Instagram totally and completely blew up. Right. And at one time they were kind of rivals, but Instagram more went the route of, it's weird. Twitter kept pornography. Instagram got rid of that. But I mean, that's where all the models are. Right. And now I guess you could say that OnlyFans is like the super what Instagram could have been had they let it run rampant before. But Twitter was more political, right? And I remember one of the first times that I ever even became aware of it. And I was watching, for some reason, Elon was on. Don't hate me. I don't know why it was on in the background or something like that. And P. Diddy was on. And P. Diddy, the old puffster, he was showing how he tweeted. And it was actually, who was it? Crooklyn, who probably hates me now because she's gone so far left. She used to follow me on Twitter. She doesn't anymore. Red does. But they were doing Tap Out MMA radio, doing podcasts back in the day before it was making any money, a decade and a half ago. And finally, she was like, you need to get a Twitter. You need to do this. That it's a good way to raise money and awareness. And at the time, I was just leaving InfoWars. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to come back and do this stuff. And, it's been a long road. You can definitely get burnt out on this stuff. That's no joke. And it was a different time. It wasn't a streaming time, right? So, like, even Twitter, I want to say back in the day with the ability, maybe you could have done Periscope, but Periscope was a separate thing as it came up. And then Twitter absorbed it. So it wasn't really the video platform, etc. It got on there, and it was constantly being pushed as like the new place to be for politics. Now, that's of course not the only place. It spanned through FBI agents monitor social media. No kidding. As domestic threats rise, the question is who they're watching. Everybody, everybody. Signature reduction is literally well over a decade old. Okay, and they were spying on us pre 9/11 with Norris Insight Systems. We played those clips. This has a long precedence. Okay, and I want to believe that, I spent my money on my blue check mark. I want Tucker to super succeed, and there's no way he won't if he puts on a 45-minute to an hour show produced the way he's produced it in the past. There's absolutely no way it won't kill on Twitter. In fact, you'll probably see upwards of 20 to 100 million. And I see people crack and joke, oh, the boomers, they don't even know how to use Twitter. They're his biggest audience. Old people will find a way if it's on Twitter. This is brilliant for Musk. And look, you can argue whether or not Twitter was worth $44 billion, right? But with the biggest thing in nightly news coming exclusively to your platform, apparently for free, you've just become a established media powerhouse. Now, reportedly, Tuck was getting $20 million a year now. I saw numbers that were only 1.8, 1.9. I was like, damn, that's really low. I don't know if that sounds real. 20 does sound about right, especially when you're talking about Fox News, the numbers he was pulling, how long he'd been there, what they pay people like Rachel Maddow. But what Tuck had to say was powerful. We got a break coming up. There's more things I want to break down about signature reduction, about companies like Data Miner, about this Trojan horse civilian system that is Twitter, that is Google, that is Facebook as well. And even if they don't start out that way, okay, people come in on the inside and maneuver their way in. They maneuver their way in, just like you might need to maneuver financially. It's time for a word for our sponsor. if we can get it going.
Have you heard of Executive Order 14067? This little-known order implemented the digital dollar, the most sinister plan to control your spending. And it gets worse. In November, the federal government and banks began a test program to roll out the digital dollar. With this, privacy for all Americans will be lost forever. Imagine, the government can now track all of your spending. The government can tell you what you can and can't buy. The government could confiscate your cash. When digital currency was rolled out in China, Bloomberg wrote, quote, "This will lead to control like no other," end quote. The EU has announced that they are next, but it is already happening in America, which makes this wealth protection guide that American Alternative Assets just put out even more urgent. Project Hamilton, as this secret order is being called, might be the scariest order to happen to privacy and freedom in America since its founding, which makes this wealth protection guide so incredibly valuable right now. Move your money out of cash and into something that doesn't infringe on your privacy. You see, there is one legal IRS-proof loophole that could protect your IRA, 401k, and pension savings with gold and silver. And this free guide tells you exactly which steps you need to take right now to move part of your IRA or 401k into precious metals with no tax consequences. As this program rolls out, the sky's the limit for the level of government control that could be enforced on your money. Protect your savings and your privacy. But in the devastation ahead, American Alternative Assets is offering you something rare, a chance to protect your wealth and possibly even grow it.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter.
So let's just stop right there. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. That's why we just talked about all the Trojan horse civilian system aspects, and even the Tuckins himself, although everything he just said was true. He also highlighted the fact that they still had Intel guys working there, right? Still had Intel people working there, and there was no comment on that. And then he failed to ask the Muskernuts that on one of the final interviews before he was fired from Fox. Just want to point that out. That's fair reporting.
Where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, But actually, the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
So one of my biggest questions surrounding this isn't even really with Tucker. It's, are they bringing back Media Studio? Am I gonna be able to stream on Twitter again ever? It's kind of a big deal to me. I'd like to be streaming this to Twitter. I'd also like the algorithm to actually project it to a decent portion of my 35,000 plus followers. I mean, look at the movement. I'd say the most movement I had, and pictures are like the biggest things. I get it. Memes are the biggest things. Is me posting the BOB 23 cartoon of Prince Charles with the hands. But we have enough of an audience where we should be able to get like 50 retweets on a live stream. We're lucky to get 5 or 10. Let me repeat that. 50. Look at my pinned Musk video where I'm showing you the connections between Musk, transhumanism, NASA, the military-industrial complex. I have to pin that up there, and it's got minutia views and shares. Same with exposing McGregor. Had that pinned up there forever. These are two of the most trending people on the planet. I have 30+ thousand followers, many of which who do retweet and look at my stuff. But we can't make anything go viral on that site. I think it's bullshit. I really do. And look, talk far from perfect. I still think it's good to make this the new YouTube. At least there can be some possible monetization here, right? Like, you got to understand, I'm coming from a place where now I have to pay to stream. God bless Red Voice Media, and God bless you guys for supporting me. But it's the inverse of what was happening, a decade ago when this started to boom on the streaming. Between like 13 and 16, you started seeing it. I'd say, between 13 and 16, 14 and 15 were big because it was pre-Trump. It was starting to become the norm. But monetization and streaming, there was a way to monetize your work. Now, look, you can monetize your work on Rumble. I just barely, maybe a little bit more than break even for the year. I pay the $25 a month fee, which comes out to about $300 for the year, so that if we do take off, if I do get more help, I can just put more channels in there, more streams. Like, we can make a clip stream here where you can go, and you don't want to watch me for 2 hours. I get it. 10 or 15 minute clips, 5-minute clips. We have that ability. Okay. And plus, you'd have to pay $10 a month just to stream. So it's a fee. Podbean. Okay. In order to do the live streaming function and to put vidcasts up there as well, which also have limitations, I pay $300+ a year. So, and that's just real. And now I paid the blue check mark, not because I wanted to, but because at the very least, at first I thought maybe I'd get my media studio back and I could stream. I'm hoping now that the Tuckins is in, we'll be able to stream again. Fingers crossed. And by the way, we're going to go to your questions and comments over on YouTube in a moment. So get them in. Tell me what you think of the Tuckins. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you can call me Shilly McBermas if you will. I know a lot of people don't like me talking about this, but this was the last guy in news and telling any semblance of truth and starting to talk about 9/11. It's a big deal, I paid the $80+ for the year. I don't think I'm going to be monetizing Twitter right away, but if they start to have a system that actually works where, right now the system is videos just under an hour if you pay. So I break the show up into 2 hours and I try to also put it on there. We get a few hundred views. And how many of those are the people that don't have the thing clicked off for the data saver that are just scrolling and just stop for a second? And they don't even watch it? It's rough. It's rough. So I would love to see Twitter become the new YouTube in a sense that You could monetize it, because I think Twitter Spaces are garbage. For me, Twitter Spaces, I guess, would be a little bit better. One, if I could use my desktop, which I can't seem to use on Twitter Spaces. They don't work. My microphone won't work on it. So I can go and listen, but I can't really be a part of it. And two, if they had some kind of a video function, which they don't have, right? Because essentially that would be a cool aspect to rival YouTube. Like if I'm doing a live stream and I can pull over and it's not just a chat, and I can bring the person in not only to talk, but maybe even to video stream right there with their question. Awesome. It's also going to cause a lot of problems because who knows what people are going to do live on the air on Twitter. But, you know, if they violate the terms and services, I guess that's on them. Okay. Before I go into the chat, which I'm going to do, I promise, and we're going to do your questions and comments, I kind of want to go back to this idea of these things being narrative control mechanisms, especially Twitter, right? And the idea that the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, and then pseudo-government authoritarian organizations such as Signature Reduction are also involved. At the same time, right, you had people that realized that they could take advantage of this if they cheated, like this guy right here. Like, it's funny. Who knows what he looks like? Microchip. This is a 2017 article. This is what the McConney case was really about. There were no Russian bots. Let me repeat that. No Russians hacked our election. Russian interference. Undue influence. Russia. No. I mean, again, hysteria. This is it. Indeed, in a national atmosphere charged by unproven accusations about a massive network of Russian social media influence, the story of how Microchip helped build the most notorious pro-Trump Twitter network seems almost mundane. Less technologically daunting intelligence operation than a clever patchworking of tools nearly any computer-literate person could manage. It also suggests that some of the current Russian Trump bot hysteria may be, well, a hysteria. It's all us, not Russians, Microchip said, and we're not going to stop. So again, I mean, there'll be people of a very, very low IQ, okay, that have been just like watching Rachel Maddow and watching Chris Hayes and watching ABC News that will say that this new move by the Tuck-ins is a Russian move. Hey, I mean, this is directed by Vladimir Putin himself, the Putin. The Putin and Musk have now colluded with Tucker Nuts to bring you disinformation on a large scale and delegitimize Twitter further as a white supremacist haven in Munchkin land. But you see what the FBI did, right? They made it about national security. They hyped you up to a foreign enemy. They tried to make Donnie T into a Russian asset. And now all I'm seeing after yesterday in that trial with the actress and the writer, he's a sexual predator now. And look, I have no idea if he ever met the woman, touched the woman, talked to the woman. I got to be honest. I have no clue. But if you look at the timing and you look at who funded it and you look at how it's after his first presidency, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. As Joe Biden would say. Come on, man. So now, again, he's a convicted sexual predator. But Joe, I allegedly showered with my daughter Biden. Joe, pedo Peter in my own son's phone book in his contacts. Joe sniffing away Biden. Joe actually grab him by the you-know-what. Allegedly. By a woman who was ignored in the mainstream media. He's fine. He's fine. But Donnie T's the bad guy. He's the bad man. He works with Russia. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back after a word from our sponsor.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your My Pillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, My Pillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog
Whoa,
beds.
whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get My Pillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
We are back, and as promised, we're going to go to some of your questions and comments. So get them in. You tell me how you feel about the tuck-ins, Donnie T, whatever else is in the news. And I've got a thread on the mall shooter that I want to share with you from Michael Tracy. Michael Tracy, far from perfect, but I got to tell you, as far as, again, semi-mainstream media, and somebody who worked for the mainstream media for some time, and I believe has been a part of the censorship and corruption on, I mean, not him personally, I'm saying happening to him, censorship and corruption, especially when the Ukraine war. Worth looking at this thread. So we're going to look at that in a moment as well. I want to remind everybody, you want to support the broadcast, it is redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. That's going to get you two exclusive interviews every week. Alicia Powell, January 6th. In fact, we talk about people to follow on Twitter other than myself. The researcher is the man, at listen_to learn. And he's got a really great thread on the manufacturing of January 6th. Okay? And how it really did go down. Alicia Powell and I discuss the Proud Boys verdict, seditious conspiracy, great interview. Wayne Dupree, another great interview. Me reaching out to somebody who's more of a mainline conservative, right? I guess what would be considered a mainline conservative, but that's the discussion, right? We talk about what it really means to be a conservative at this point. So let's get down to it. He's critical of Musk and Tuck, but watches Ellen. I don't watch Ellen. Listen, when I say Ellen was on, we're talking. I'll tell you where I probably saw it, and it was on. It was probably like morning show, afternoon show. I know it was like a daytime show. I was probably in the pizza shop with my buddy, maybe even helping him out with the pies or making boxes, and it was on the TV. How dare you insinuate that I watch Ellen? I could promise you right now, I don't think there's that type of a talk show that I've watched start to finish in well over close to 20 years. I mean, I used to watch nighttime TV. I used to watch Letterman and Conan. I used to love Saturday Night Live. You know, that, like, if I was staying in, or even if I caught it on the rewind, I actually did enjoy it. Even as a younger guy, when you're in high school and maybe you're not going out drinking all the time, or you shouldn't be, hanging with friends, just something I did. All right, let's keep going down the line. The whole Tucker business has the hallmarks of a Russian plot. Yes, Robert. Yes, a Russian plot indeed. I hope that's pure sarcasm. I really do. Instincts are usually the best guess to what's really happening. I hope Scott, New York City, is also kidding. Like, that's the cartoon. You wonder, like, who knows whether these guys are being facetious in the comments or not. But you also wonder about the bots that are out there. If you were to talk about where my status is in kind of influencing things across the board in media in general, or I am a micro influencer. Okay. And I hate the term influencer. And the only time that we, talk micro is in the chip sense, right? Again, micro, Microchip the Russian bots. And now he's arrested by the FBI, protected by the FBI, all that good stuff. Got a Rockfin tip. Let's go. Nathan Stoltman. Interesting. How you doing, Nathan? Nathan does his own thing, Lift the Veil. And you can check that out across the board on many a platform. I appreciate that, brother. It's very nice of you. So, let's keep going down the line. Good day from Australia. Memory hold right here. He's the memory man. He's had many a different account. He's a vocal artist, not a truth teller. He's a vampire. CIA Tucker. See, I don't know what to think, man. I don't know. Listen, my boy Robbie Martin, who's hypercritical, probably will never come on the show again, which is unfortunate. I like him. I like his sister. I think they do good work. He goes hard on the Tuck. He goes even harder on Mike Flynn. And I get it. I get it. And where the Tuck has failed, like, that's why we play the David Ray Griffin clips. Tucker Carlson is, in a lot of ways, a guy that could probably, on many levels, never relate to what I would call the average person, or at least somebody that kind of lived my life and what many of us lived life in this country through the last 30 to 50 years, right? I don't even go below that because, let's be honest, the 24 and under crowd, they're not watching the show, okay? I wish they were. I wish they were more engaged. I wish that my youthful appearance and vigor would appeal to them more. I appeal more to boomers, unfortunately. Tucker Carlson, has no idea what it was like to stand in a grocery line and use food stamps, or has no idea what it's like to get evicted from an apartment that you didn't have heat on for a couple days in the wintertime. Okay? Tucker Carlson has no idea what it's like to, have to get punched in the face because you were wearing the Payless sneakers. There's a lot of things. Tucker Carlson has no idea what it's like to work 20 hours a week on top of going to like a state school that you had to take a loan out for, right? All those things. Obviously comes by means of privilege. His father did work with intelligence and the media sector. He was one of the most disdainable people. And this is where if my brother's watching, he'll love this. Because my brother's take on Tucker Carlson is, and this is before he got fired, is they let him do his thing because he sits there and he laughs about it in such a pompous manner. It's very easy for people on the other side to dismiss him kind of as a cartoon, right? I don't disagree with that. I understand that because I used to hate Tucker Carlson when he was on MSNBC and wearing the bow tie. He was one of the most, and I actually liked watching those networks. Yeah, I know it, guys. Oh my goodness. Early 2000s, Jason Bermas watching those Democratic networks. I'm just saying. I want to believe that some people can change. Like that guy has got a soul. I do. Robbie, I want to believe it. I want to believe the same thing about Flynn. And Flynn, I mean, when you look at resumes, yeah, Tuck has a huge audience. Flynn is on the inside of major global disinformation campaigns under the Obama administration. He's openly talked about it. Now, I've spent time around him privately. That's like, I haven't sat down and had a huge conversation with him. In fact, I would say that the bulk of, any kind of actual conversation about policy or anything like that you guys have seen is when I asked him a question at the last Reawaken America tour to get his response on the Mar-a-Lago raids, the classified documents fiasco, where they were going to go with Donnie T, etc. I think Flynn's a good person. I've seen him interact with people behind the scenes. I've been around enough people to get a vibe on who I don't necessarily love, on people I really do love that got my heart, and then people that I see it, and again, I want to believe that he made the turn. He turned the corner. That's why they went after him with the Logan Act. Like, let's be honest about it. I've been beating the drum on the Logan Act in Bilderberg. Bilderberg coming up this weekend, by the way. Tomorrow's the last show. That means that tomorrow they're going to start arriving, allegedly, in Lisbon, Portugal. So if that is the case, I'm going to do my best to get a Bilderberg show going tomorrow for sure, even if that's like a watch along with parts of certain parts of my film, so I can kind of describe the importance of Bilderberg and the players of Bilderberg. I reached out to Truth Stream. I got no response. I better call him. I better just call Dykes and make him answer the damn phone. I'm calling you, Aaron. Make him answer the damn phone and get him on. I might even have to get a Dan Dix interview. I did talk about Bilderberg briefly with Dan Dix over at AMP a couple weeks back or 3 weeks back when I was substitute hosting, all that stuff. So a lot of good stuff going on. Let's continue on. Let's take the questions and comments. We're all being duped. People like this guy are what you call controlled opposition. Again, that's the Tuckins, man. Who else is talking about 9/11 and Building 7 right now? He's the only guy. He's the only guy. And let's see how hard he comes out swinging. How he comes out swinging with the new show, right? BS, the USA inhibitors are mostly brave. And don't forget, they are Germanic in their roots like me. Not sure what that means. And I know, my man, Memory, that you're not coming after me. I get it. But listen, I'm not making $20 million a year yet. Bermas, live long and prosper. I'm trying. Tucker's dad taught him well. Again, we talked about the Tuckins' dad. Gab is actually the only true free speech platform. There's a lot of ugly, but also good, which is how free speech works. Elijah, that's a great point. And Gab has reached out to me. The thing is that you're right. There is a lot of ugly there, and ugly isn't illegal, and you have to defend ugly, right? At the same time, I already see enough of my social media feed that impacts me, and I gotta think about how I'm gonna handle it, and I don't want it to impact my day to day. Like, it's awesome out right now, sunny days. Later on in the day, I might even do a walk and talk, get out of the house. It's gorgeous out. Go see some friends, talk over some pancakes or chicken wings, depending. I live my life, and adding another social media platform, that's tough. That's tough. And that's another great thing about RVM is they've handled a lot of these alternative platforms that I barely use in order to distribute the material because we're trying to reach everybody. Tuck could be gone, and this is all an AI deepfake. We're there. I mean, I obviously don't believe that, and I'm saying that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, right? I don't believe that's happening. I'm saying it tongue-in-cheek, but yeah, that's not impossible, is it? No, it's certainly not impossible. It's something that absolutely could be going down, like like we're at Running Man level. I don't want that would be the ultimate mother truckins, right? There's so many people out there. It's not the real Biden. It's the real Biden. Look at the dead look in his eyes. That's the real Biden. His ears. Nope. That's plastic surgery and Botox, and God knows what they're injecting. It's a mask. I doubt it. And you gotta love the people that like speculate what actor they think Joe Biden is. Talk about Clown Town, boy, oh. My goodness, it's James Woods. Yes, James Woods is playing Joe Biden intermittently when Jim Carrey is not playing Joe Biden. I mean, cartoon level ridiculous. Let's see. We got some same to the Tuck. Bermas treading lightly as he low-key begs Tuck for a job. Let me say right now, not begging Tucker Carlson for a job, but if Tucker Carlson said, Jason, I love what you do. I want you to do it on whatever network we're putting together, or I want you to have a segment on the show, or I want you to be a man on the street in any kind of situation and do reporting from there. Do you think I'd say no to that? What? Can anybody give me one good reason why I would say no to that? Like a good reason. because you don't want to associate with CIA. We haven't established he's CIA or disinformation. And wouldn't that lend credence to the guy? If you brought a guy like me on, who's not, I'm not going to bend the knee to, Elon Musk. And I'm going to encourage Tucker, if I was ever to get that close, to ask real questions. Can you imagine if at some point, because I took a job with Tucker, I got a one-on-one with Musk, and we could start talking about space warfare and reality sauce and rockets and what they really do. And this farce of going to the moon and Mars and Artemis and challenge. I don't think there's any way I'm getting a job with Tucker Carlson. But I got to tell you, if I had the opportunity, I'd take it. It's just like, do you think the UFC is offering me a job after the things that I've said about their boy Conor? Probably not. Final segment before the second hour coming up after this word from our sponsor.
Folks, we have a huge problem on our hands. A banking crisis is spiraling, and it's all thanks to the current administration's reckless spending, sky-high inflation, and massive interest rate hikes. Now, these banks are suffering, and guess what? They can legally seize your savings without notice to bail themselves out. That's right. Thanks to a sneaky law passed back in 2008, it's now legal for banks to take your hard-earned money, including your retirement savings, to save themselves. Now, this could leave your retirement accounts decimated, and you paying the price for their disastrous policies. Take action now before it's too late. Now, this guide will show you how to defend your money and keep your retirement savings safe from the banking crisis and the current administration's financial fiasco. This simple and 100% legal strategy may help you protect your retirement against higher taxes, soaring inflation, and a volatile economy. So don't let your golden years be ruined by someone else's mistakes. To secure your free wealth protection guide and safeguard what's rightfully yours, don't wait. The time to act is now.
I just got to say this. I'm sitting here, I'm reading some of this. Tucker's mom left him enough money to never work. Would you work if you had enough money to live on? That's whatever. We'll get that to in a minute. Earlier, I mentioned, go back up. Red, right? On the stream right here. And this is one of the guys from Tap Out Radio. And look what he has to say. He knows what I'm talking about. Good on you, Jason, for doing this for so long for basically sweatshop wages. This is Redneck from Tap Out Radio. I remember you, brother. I brought you up today. Yeah, again, my Twitter journey really came with your partner. We spoke a few times many years ago. Yes, so glad to see you fighting a good fight. So weird that I bring this up, and then he's in the chat. So bizarre. It shows you, man, the law of attraction is real. And I don't do this for the money at all. It's great that I'm able to make a living. Thank God. Because otherwise, I'm working 40 to 60, sometimes more hours at 2 to 3 jobs at a time. Like even when I made Shade the Motion Picture, I was working 40 to 60 hours at Cooperstown Dreams Park, around the video department there, in the busy times, especially like the summer. I did have the day job that was nice when they weren't there, but you still had a lot to do, okay? And I'm blessed to be able to do this. Absolutely blessed. I want to expand. I want people to check this stuff out. I'm so lucky I get to interact with an audience like this. And again, guys, you want to support me? It's redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, $10 a month. 2 extra interviews on top of the 8 hours with limited commercial interruptions that you get from me every single week. And that doesn't include Mixed Martial Mindset when we do it. We did that last week. That's like an extra hour. That doesn't include the fold-alongs or the dish-wash-alongs. It's all there. redvoicemedia.com/uncensored. Tell them Jason Bermas sent you and sign up. You get all of Red Voice Media's premium stuff. The second hour is coming up quick. It is an interview on so many subjects pertaining to what we are doing to our children and our young girls in particular. We're talking about science. We're talking about spirituality. We're talking about the family unit. We're talking about authoritarianism and the state and collectivism. Simon Esler, daughtersofthewestfilm.com. You're not going to want to miss that one. And that's at rvmrumble.com or the Red Voice Media main channel, not RVM Clips, the main channel. And there's a big RVM Live. That's where you can find the second hour, especially if you're on YouTube. Right after the VPN commercial for IPVanish, which I use, that's where it's going to be. We're going to cut off from YouTube. So make sure that you go over to the RVM Rumble for that second hour. Really going to want to do that. Okay, let's keep going down the line. Not learning, a job you have to go to that's not in service to humanity. Maybe Tuck thinks he serves humanity. Who knows? I hope so. Shilly McBermas question. When are you getting married? Who knows, man? I don't like talking about my relationships, especially, the one I'm in right now. I love my girlfriend. We have a huge distance with one another physically. I have my family here. She has her daughter there. She's been heavily embedded in this DC Proud Boys case. That's, done a number on things. Everybody will be the first to know when if Jason Bermas is getting married. Because Jason Bermas wants a family, believe me. Tucker says, the truth, any other questions you have. Come back to Just Ask the Question. Tucker fanboys found. I have arrived. Okay, Biscotti, how we doing? Let's see. And yet there he is. Tucker can work where he wants. He has skills. What you most all have not. Well, again, he can't really work anywhere because he has probably a non-compete through January of 2025, which makes him ineligible. And it really kind of takes him out of the arena of being able to report on the election, at least from a mainstream perspective. I think that's part of the plot here. And by the way, before we go back, and we are going to go back there, I told you I wanted to go down this one thread. And let's see. It's this one right here. Michael Tracy, pointing out, allegedly right here, this is the shooter. All right. And I know there are people that are trying to say that he didn't have the Nazi stuff. It seems like he did. Seems like he was more of like a metalhead guy, though. And Michael Tracy just kind of breaks it down on what he was posting on social media and how it seemed like he was mentally ill, which we've also talked about, and how he was talking, irreverent nonsense that wasn't really focused in, white supremacy. And again, those tattoos are fresh from this weird site, all that stuff. Michael Tracy doing good stuff. I just wanted to quickly go over that before we got into the second hour with Simon Esler. So let's go back to your questions and comments. It's all theater. It's all theater. Gee, pervs in both parties. Imagine that. Yes, imagine that. Imagine. I can't believe it. Morning, JC. How are we? I'm ordering a My Pillow next payday. Boom! Use that RVM code, Oz. My band. Redneck over at Tap Out Radio. We got Nathan Stoltman from Lift the Veil in there. We got Redman on there. Good stuff. Good stuff. If you would like to help, the links are down below. I appreciate that, Karen. I really do. Sorry, I love the news from Tucker Carlson. Jonas is a big Tuck. He likes the Tuck. Why isn't there a statute of limitations in effect anymore? She was married to a news anchor and had no proof, nor what day in 1996. It's really weird. And Sue's Champion is talking about, of course, the Donnie T civil case. I think we're in a real dark spot where you already kind of had a corrupt system, but now it's been used in a manner where it's not only politicized, but it's been weaponized against those who are a real political threat. Right? It's just like the real whistleblowers don't get protection. Now, if you've had some movement against these people, they're just throwing it all at you. Yeah, they'll get a corrupt judge in there. Yeah, they'll get a corrupt district attorney in there. There's always going to be some social climber. There's always going to be a yes man, period. Always. Geez, Jonas, the man told you himself that he's been a liar for pay. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. I'm with you, Katie. But at the same time, I don't think that there are any of us out there that could honestly look at other people and say that they've never told a lie before. Or that they're not a hypocrite on some level. We're all hypocrites on some level. We've all told lies. We all have things that we've done and do that we're not proud of, that we should be working on. That's called being human. Nobody's perfect. Nobody can get it right all the time either. That's an impossibility. Okay, because you're a human being. You don't have all of the knowledge of the universe. Just impossible. Let's see. The TV talk show era is over. It pretty much is over. Especially with the AI writing scripts, right? Instincts as trust your hunches. People are getting depressed more and more. Yes, they are. Again, happiness comes from human interactions, all right? It comes from setting goals, achieving those goals, having a purpose-based lifestyle. That's a huge thing of happiness. And acceptance, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's something to be said for being stubborn as a mother trucker and I'm not telling you to accept what other people think about you or what's being imposed on limitations, but acceptance of what you can change and then acknowledgement of, what you can't change. So when you accept what you can change, that doesn't mean just acknowledging it. That means working towards it. And hopefully you can get it done. And you don't fail. But if you fail, maybe you get a lesson out of it. But you also have to acknowledge and then accept what you can't change, at least today. And maybe you can devise a plan on how you're going to be part of that change. But very much, the thing we used to say over at We Are Change is be the change you want to see in the world. And I can't reiterate that enough at all. People have an inner instinct that speaks truth. That's where I was going. Can we tip on this channel? No, you can't, Red. No, you can't, my man. I wish you could. We've been demonetized for 3 years. And I've had my channel taken 4 or 5 times. Okay? 4 or 5 times. I lost count, but Twitter was the vehicle. So again, Twitter sucks. It's a Trojan horse civilian system. It's got limitations. It's how I got my YouTube channel back. And yeah, I can't make money here on YouTube. We discussed that earlier. But we can reach people and then bring them to the other platforms because it's really about getting the information out. Get a bribe or killed, what would you choose? A bot would certainly pick a better name than mine. Am I right, Katie Kane? I don't know. You're on InfoWars. That ain't nothing. I mean, sometimes. I have a band.video channel. I haven't hosted the Alex Jones Show in months on the 4th hour. But again, there's another example. I don't agree with everything Alex says. I think he probably got the cartel thing wrong recently, but who knows? And again, I'm not weighing any judgment on what did or didn't happen there. I know that at least in the other case where you had these people mowed down by a car, the white supremacy talk went away pretty quick when you see who actually got arrested. And again, I don't know if that was a cartel hit, etc. I wouldn't hesitate to host the 4th hour if I got a text message or a phone call today. Of course I would. 100%. Good on you, Jason. Yep, we already said that. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Let's see there. Yep, that's the PayPal thing. Just want to pinch those cheeks, Jason. Oh, you are such a sweetie. You are such a sweetie. Start making short video clips and put them on TikTok. Well, we need somebody else to do that because I'm not TikToking. But we would make a TikTok for that. We're TikToking. All right. Here's the deal. Thumbs it up. Subscribe. Share. RVM's Rumble. That's where you're going to find the 2nd hour. After the word from our sponsor, we're going to be gone from YouTube and the other platforms today because we're posting the 2nd hour separately. But you can watch it right now, over at Rumble, Red Voice Media style. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Go over there. Do the same. I love you guys. And don't forget to IP Vanish.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. Take control of your online privacy with IP Vanish. People with malicious intent are everywhere, watching you. Criminals can hack your Wi-Fi, while broadband providers and advertisers monitor your data. With IP Vanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden.